Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Can I just say, please, Nick's on top of me.
Again.
That would be a first, darling.
Here we are again, happy as can be, all good friends and jolly good company.
Yes. And I know you weren't expecting to see me, but I messed up. So I'm here, not where I was meant to be. But, but it's a Q&A tonight and a chat. And Reverend Nick, we're going to grill you. And
well,
things.
Sounds painful.
Yes.
There is a comeback to that, but I am really so not going to use it.
Has my
Please don't.
commented, please, because I haven't got it up.
I don't know.
I've got it up, Jean.
Yes, I've got us, but I've got no comments, Irene. It's just blank.
Oh, no, I've got comments as well, sweetheart.
I haven't.
Michael, Jean,
Nick.
Put it up.
Nick.
Get it up. Tell him to
Yes, darling.
Help, please.
Well, because the funny thing is, because you weren't expecting to be here on time and you've given me the total control of the service, it's quite simple. All I've got.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
And I just
Nick's
had
got
a comment.
complete control backstage.
It's not very often I can say that.
Pardon?
Yes, I need to send you I need to send you a nice light. Nice. I think you should have a nice golden cool one rather than a cold white one like this horrible thing.
Don't send a red light, will you? I don't want people knocking on my door.
Jane, your Stuart could make a fortune if you did.
Oh, him or me?
Him?
I was going to say, does he not make note with me?
Hey, I thought you had somebody. Did you not have somebody knocking on your door the other night and you wouldn't open it, Jean? And you was in your gym jams.
I wasn't opening that door. I didn't know it were.
Well, exactly.
Anyway,
Hi, Megan. Hi, everybody. My granddaughter's just come on. Hello, darling.
Right. So, may we get this service started, please, ladies?
Yes.
You two are out of control tonight.
Well, it's his fault. It's not Nick's fault.
No. I am.
Jean's on a naughty roll. That's not.
I feel a song coming on. Somebody's ringing the bell.
Oh, we've got to behave now. My mother's just come on.
Right. Okay.
Hello,
Mummy Brown's here.
Hello, Mummy Brown. Can you control your son, please?
Excuse me. Kettles and frying pans. Okay.
I'm the sensible one, Mum Brown.
As Nick's the guest, Nick, would you like to open the service in prayer, please, darling?
Of course I will, my friends. Now,
thank you, His Most Reverend Nick Brown.
Yes. Thank you, darling.
He told us not to use that. He just said Reverend Nick.
Yeah, it's nice to be reminded though, because it keeps me in check.
Yes.
But only once a day. Only once a day. So, friends, let us take a brief moment of contemplation and calm, because it's probably the only one we're going to get tonight. As we join together and reach out into the world. Reach out into the hearts of ourselves and each other, but most importantly, reach out to the world of spirit. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother God, here we bring unto you all of our hopes and desires, our wishes, our needs, our thoughts and reflections. We ask for strength, for courage. We ask for guidance and hope. But most of all, Great Spirit, we ask that you lift the veil and allow your friends and inspirers that work with us, who you send to us daily, and also your angels of light, to conduct this service as it should be, with honor, with truth, with love, with light, but as always, Great Spirit, with laughter. Amen.
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 Bless. Thank you very much.
That's what you call
lovely.
That's what you call hedging your bets.
Yeah. No, I thought that was lovely. I thought that was a lovely prayer, Nick. Thank you so much.
Yes.
If anybody who is watching has a question or a comment or something they would like to address with Nick, please feel free to drop it in the comments. I'll keep my eyes peeled and see if we can get through as many as we can. I did think what would be nice to start with, Nick.
Am I doing a poem? Sorry. Am I doing a poem or?
Oh,
that's me getting ahead of myself.
He's in trouble.
Sorry.
Just before you poem, can we send some love out to Lisa Fallon and family? She lost Auntie on Tuesday.
Oh, bless.
Oh,
of course.
Right. I'll put her in my healing book later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bless. Right. I've actually, I know that you've heard this one before, but I've actually sorted this out for our Reverend Nick, so I hope he likes it. I write all my own poetry to Nick, and I just thought this was appropriate seeing as you was on tonight, and it's just called The Gift. From someone up above, we have been given a gift of love, a gift of prayers and healing too, and some messages just for you. We work with guides from the spirit land and your loved ones hand in hand. It's a privilege to work with those who come. Their only communication, now they're gone. We cannot contact them by letter or phone, but they don't want those left to be alone. So messages are given so clear and true through us as mediums to give to you. The gift we have is a privilege to endorse. It is wonderful, the truth to enforce, to give the truth that comes with no fear and almost always serene and clear. We get laughter and tears in equal measure, but a message given is truly a treasure. To tell the stories of another's life from grandparents, siblings, husbands and wife. A truly wonderful gift has been given from all the souls who live in heaven, through our guides to us on earth. A gift that is given to all spiritual mediums from birth.
Oh, that's a nice
sweet.
one again, Irene.
I love that.
Thank you.
I do.
Bravo.
Yes.
And as
That's
Michael
nice.
said,
Lovely.
over to Pam. Oh wait, wish
My
I'd
name
looked
is
after
Pam
my
Ayres, and I'm sitting on the stairs. Love it.
And I'm not messing about with my teeth tonight, Michael.
No, don't. I don't like teeth anyway. So
Thank
there
you,
we are.
They are
Yes.
quite useful, though.
They are. But as I was saying, sorry, Irene, I got ahead of myself.
That's all right. I'll let you off.
Irene and myself did a service on Monday, was it, Irene?
It was, yes.
It was Monday.
Yeah.
And it did turn into a bit of a Q&A about mediumship. So when we arranged tonight's Q&A, I thought, well, we've covered mediumship a little bit. So tonight I would like to cover a bit of mediumship, but also a little bit about the church, because a lot of people watch who aren't members of the New Christian Spiritualist Society. They are by default because they watch me, but they don't know a lot about it. So, and I did find it interesting that last night after the service, we were talking backstage about how Lynn came to start the New Christian Spiritualist Society. So without going into quite that much detail, do we have a potted history of
the New Christian Spiritualist Society? Yes, of
Yes.
course. And I will warn you that her grace is indeed watching us with us tonight as well.
I've just said, thank you, Lynn. That's beautiful words. Thank you for that.
So how do I pot the words of Reverend Lynn? It would be impossible. So here we go. Here we go.
It's going to be one of those nights.
It is indeed. As I was going to say, Ian's here, pretty boy. Hello, Lynn. Oh, Lynn. Lynn's having the day that we are too. So as I was going to say, one of the best ways to pot Reverend Lynn's words is to not pot them at all, but use your own. And this is something that she often taught us. So perhaps beginning with the history of how I met Lynn would help. because it does go beyond the New Christian Spiritualist Society. No, absolutely not. Don't go away, Lynn.
Don't.
No,
Um,
no, absolutely not.
It's nice to have you watching, love.
It is.
Besides which, you'll probably chip in with corrections of dates and times like you usually do when I'm getting them wrong. So in 1998, I was but a lad of about 17, 18. And I was working on the committee of the local sports centre. Believe it or not, a sports centre. It had a good bar and a great kitchen. That's all I'm saying. So I was working there. But at the age of 14, I had a nervous breakdown, actually, because I didn't understand what was going on with myself. I was seeing things. I was hearing things. After the last 23 years, I've heard that story so many times. And I now know, obviously, that I was awakening, as some people like to fancy up, as we call it, switching me on. I like things to be nice and simple, you see. Now, that's important. Remember that. So anyway, I'd got a reputation for being interested in what they called the weird and the wonderful. And at one point, I was in a committee meeting, and I was, oh, right, okay, Nick, this one's for you. And I was like, oh, okay. We've had a request to book one of the rooms for a spiritualist church. I went, oh, right, okay. It's two ladies moved up from London. It was then Lynn Gesterswart and Kathy Gibb. They hadn't married at that point, obviously. So can you go along and keep an eye and make sure they don't do anything, conjuring up anything that they shouldn't be doing? I was intrigued. So I went, and I was instantly introduced as, this is Nick. He'll use the cup bar for you and make the tea for you. So, okay, and they said, oh, I didn't know at the time what an honor it was to make tea in a spiritualist church, let alone your first ever meeting. And I was rubbish. The tea was awful. It really was. It was like gnat's urine, frankly. Thanks, Mother. It was horrible. It really, really was. But the thing was, Lynn was just so polite about it. Now, obviously, I'd met some lovely people that night. And joking aside, for the first time in my life, I had felt myself at peace and welcome. And that was really quite important. Mm-hmm. The evening ended with, of course, will you be coming? This is Reverend Lynn, of course. Will you be coming back next week, dear? And I said, well, yes, I think I will. And she says, perhaps we can find you another job other than making the tea next week. And of course she did. They made me treasurer the next week. And then about 3 or 4 weeks after that, we moved, and I left the committee of the sports centre and went with them. So we went to a village hall in Queen Adelaide, just down the road. That was for about 6 months to a year. And then we came to the village hall in Littleport. And that's where it had been ever since. But that was the first church that Lynn founded. When Lynn and Kathy moved off, they went down the south coast opening churches. I will be honest, we lost touch for a little while because Facebook wasn't such a big thing back then. But we did kind of get in touch from time to time. And I've been keeping track more and more on what she'd been up to and what Kathy had been up to. And I could see that Lynn had suddenly left the grouping that she was involved with, and as had I. And she'd set up the New Christian Spiritualist Society. And then out of the blue, I got a phone call. Hello, Nick. I was like, I know that voice. Hello, Lynn. How are you? I'm coming to Littleport. And I went, oh, right, okay. She said, yes, I'm serving the old church. Would you come along? So I did. And long story short, there was lots of issues going on at the time. Things were very difficult. But the thing that frustrated me is that the person who founded that church had been invited back to serve. And because of policy, she wasn't allowed to wear her collar. Now, respect people for what they need to do within their own church, but it could have been said earlier, perhaps, but that was the reason we sat there talking, and she said, "You know what? I know you, and I know what you're like. I trained you. I need you to come and visit me once a month for about 6 months down in London." And I said, "Okay." She said, "And then you can open a church for me in Littleport." And back then we were the New Spiritualist Society. But we were all Christian spiritualists. And it's important to recognize that although on the grand scheme of things, it's not massively different, within the heart, within the soul, and within practice, it can be quite different. And it can also be blooming hard as well, frankly, because at the end of the day, we get it in the neck from really staunch conservative Christians for being spiritualists. But we also get it in the neck for really staunch conservative spiritualists for being Christians. And this is the thing that frustrates me about any way of life, is that, you know, within that way of life, there are always going to be people who think that their way of life is perfect. Their way of life is better than everyone else's. And, oh, no, we don't have the same problems everyone else does. We do. And one of the points of the New Christian Spiritualist Society was to address those problems, to work towards fixing those problems, to fight for genuine, good, solid quality mediumship, to promote the philosophy of spiritualism and how important it is as our part of a way of life, and also to ensure that we do not become what's it sitting on the end of a pier with a turban on a head, chanting silly voices, calling ourselves bloody entertainers, because we are not.
No.
And that is the point of the New Christian Spiritualist Society. And it's working. It's working. The comments that we get, the messages we get, the people that get involved, it's working because people are finding an ability and a comfort to be able to magnetize towards each other through the connections they have with the New Christian Spiritualist Society. And I just think that we're truly blessed that we are able to do it, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Yes, I agree.
But was that quick enough for you?
It was, and it was very potted. Oh, yes, Michael, we need to throw away the turban and the earrings.
Yes, you should.
I think
Stacey.
Sorry, I think Stacey makes a valid point.
Yeah. Oh, Stace, what's that quote?
Yeah.
People are always going to complain about the way you live your life, so you may as well live it being true to yourself. This is so true.
Absolutely.
This is so true. Yes, of course you can, Lisa.
Lisa, of course you can ask a question, don't
just
ask
drop it
away,
in
my doll.
Yeah, just drop it in the comments and one will pick it up. I do think we have got so much to do, and but I do like Lynn when she gets on about we are not entertainers. It's like, no, it's not for entertainment purposes. It's much bigger than entertainment. If you want to see entertainment, go and see a cabaret. We're not cabaret mediums. We are
exactly. And of course,
a lot of people say that, don't they? That, you know, you've got to say that we're only entertaining and all this, and it's wrong. And I do come, and I'm not knocking churches because obviously I was fetched up Catholic, then changed to spiritualism, and when I was 12, which has been brilliant for me. It's turned my life around being a spiritualist medium, and I'd never forget that for what they've done. But the worst things I've heard is all this about entertaining. You must say this, you must say that. And it's coming from a different source. I'm not going to say, but you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll know where it's coming from. I've been 3 or 4 times and I've really enjoyed it, but they do take you a different path.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's money path.
Yeah.
Tim's actually made a very valid point. And and all I will say is hello and yes, Tim, good to hear from you, my friend. And I do. Oh, hello. I've known Tim a very, very, very long time, and you know, I have a great deal of respect for the work that he does, and I know he's a DSNU, and I know his involvement in the SNU, which is still a force of great ability and work and training for people. But I would just like to comment on that. We don't give ourselves titles. We are given those titles through training and through development, in exactly the same way as a minister of the SNU is given training and earn that title. And an important, it's not that they're so much of a title of, oh, look at me. Exactly the same as any minister, it's a big label that says, I'm here, come and see me, I'm ready to help you. We wear the collar because I'll give you this as an example, and this is why I believe so much in the ministry, and why I'm so confident that we certainly, and I'm sure every minister who trains to be a minister doesn't do it for the letters in front of their name. It's a simple fact that just before I was ordained, going back to those days, I did an experiment. I was the same person, same me, same demeanor, same gait, same walk, same and same route. This is important. I dressed up in a hoodie, baggy jeans with slits in, trainers, you name it, the works. And I walked from my house all the way down to the street, bought a packet of cigarettes and come home. I said hello to every single person that I met. Not one of them replied. A week later, I did it again, wearing pretty much what I'm wearing now. It was a t-shirt underneath the suit shirt jacket. And I did the same route, same day, same time. I said hello to everybody. I got 2 responses. I walked down the street a week after I was ordained wearing this. I said hello to nobody because everybody said hello to me first. So it's not so much about, and it's, Tim, I'll be honest with you, there's going to be people out there who it is about titles. I'm not denying that. But for me, and certainly for everyone here that I've helped work with, develop in the New Spiritualist Society, it's about being there for people and of service. See, I serve in ministry. That means I lead a service, which means I lead the service, but I lead to serve rather than serve to lead. And that's really, really important. And I know you, Tim, that's exactly the way you work and exactly the way you do. We might do things a little bit different, but the point is, we've got to let people know we're here. We really have got to let people know we're here. And if that means adopting a tradition that is visible and recognized and understood by so many people, then I think it's worthwhile. And the apostolic tradition of ordination is handed down from Jesus. He sat with a group of people and taught them how to develop. He taught them how to communicate. He passed it on and he carried it on, and they carried it on and they carried it on, just as we've all done in this way of life. And I think that's really, really vital, because we need to prepare for the next generation. We need to make it available for the next generation, and we need to make it open for the next generation. And as for kids being involved, I had a lad who copied me at home. I shared the video a couple of weeks back, maybe even a couple of days ago. He got himself dressed up like he was me and was copying my, you probably remember when I used to chair to our exits are here, here and here. And it was always a big thing, a big laugh and a big joke in the church, just to lighten things up. And I know that it's difficult with religion, but one other thing that I point out about religion, everybody, and quite Stacey has said more about we're taught to show respect and trust certain people of ordination. And I do. But the point is, I'm dressed because I am as a Christian minister, and everyone recognizes that as being a Christian minister. They then ask the question, I said, well, actually, I'm a Christian spiritualist minister. And then they say, oh, I've been to the spiritualist church. Starts a conversation. But the point is, most people who recognize a Christian minister, and I knew you wouldn't disagree with me, mate, because yeah, and I agree. Can you bring Tim's comment up? Because I'm 100% behind this. I hate the politics too, which is why I'm in ministry and not committee anymore. It wasn't for me.
Ask him something, Tim.
Who?
If you don't mind,
Tim?
when you've finished. Tim's from the spiritualist, the
SNU.
Yes,
he is involved in the SNU. Yeah.
Do you mind if I just ask a question about this? Because I want this put in right, if you don't mind. Tim, can I just ask why somebody who's a minister from the Christian church can't wear his collar on a SNU spiritualist church?
I can answer that for him, mate.
Can you? That's fine.
Yeah, it's
because it's
a bit. And as Tim says, and this is why I hate it, I will be honest with you, it's about the politics. It really, really is about the politics. I was an honorary life member of the SNU church that I was involved with until I was ordained. The moment I was ordained, that honorary life membership was revoked because I was part of a wayward organisation. Yeah. And that's their policies and their procedures. That's fine. No. Look, me and Tim have known each other for years. We could.
Well, I've been to Stansted for years and I've enjoyed it. I can't say I haven't. And I work a lot in SNU churches. My stepmom's at the SNU. My dad were before passed. My stepmom's still here, but passed. But can I just use your name, Tony?
Yeah.
It's not coming out wrong, but if Tony had done the SNU minister's qualification, that won't be a problem. But because he's done the Christian, I got told he couldn't wear his collar on rostrum. I'm sorry, Tony.
No.
But you know, it's fine. It's been said.
It's exactly.
Yeah, it was
I
said.
wanted to know why.
It's
sorry,
because
Tony.
It's Christian, and you can't be Christian and SNU spiritualist.
And do you know what? I'm going to say this. This is why I've got No. This is why I respect Tim Abbott. And I'll be perfectly honest with him. His last comment, this is why I respect that man. Absolutely. He had visits. You can bring that. I'm sure he won't mind bringing it up. I was in the middle of answering his previous question. So while you bring that, I'm going to... So Tim had a bit of bother, and I would say, personally speaking, at the time, he wasn't treated very well by certain people. But he's rebuilt his life and he's doing what he loves the most. And he's been involved, as he's saying, he was completely contacted by many people of many ministers. And I don't think it's the individuals that are the problems. It's policy and procedure. This is why we're ministry-led in the New Christian Spiritualist Society. Do you know what, Tim? I would love for us all to come together and unite. And we spoke about it many times over the years. What we need to learn to, and actually, Tony's read a bit of this. I'm actually writing an article at the moment about what is needed. But the problem is, spiritualism is a macrocosm for every religion in the universe.
Yeah.
We all need to start treating all religions with respect, because I think it was Stace who said we're trained to see this as a mark of respect.
Yeah,
I don't believe that. I see it as a mark of service, but it's got mixed up in the way. And that's the word I was looking for. We are a proscribed organization. I'm not going to go into the ifs, ands, or buts about my experiences when I was in the SNU. That would be detracting from the positivity of our way of life. There were some things that I'm not ever going to talk about. But we're Christian,
because I work with Tony, and we do work in SNU churches.
Yeah,
and that would just fetched up. And you know, a couple of years ago, Tony, before you talked about this before, didn't you? And that was the first thing I got thrown at me. And I thought,
Well, if he does, he can't wear his collar on our rostrums. Like,
yeah.
Now,
I've just found Lisa's question.
Sorry.
Yeah,
No.
please. Can I just wrap this up though, for the benefit of
Go on,
everyone,
then.
because it's really opened a big can of what to do's, and I love it because it's engaging in conversation. That as yes, actually, Tim, you're almost right. You're almost right. As far as this is actually a very valid point, I'm going to bring it up for. Oh, hang on. As far as Tim knows, I still hold the record, if we want to call it that. I love that. For the youngest church president. Actually, it was second youngest. Longest at that age, perhaps, but probably not, knowing who was the first youngest. I was the second youngest president of an SNU church, but the youngest member of a district council of the SNU. I was beaten by about 6 months by Gordon Higginson. He was the youngest president, but he went up through the Lyceum. I went up through the district council, so he was never involved in the district council. So yes, I was actually the youngest member of a district council at the time, and probably still the second youngest church president. I'd forgotten about that, so thank you for reminding me. But the point, is this: is we all need to remember that we need to unite, not just as spiritualism, but all religion, and that's one heck of a task. And spiritualism, we've talked so much about being open and welcome to everyone. We need to be that lesson for all the world. We say it in our prayers, we say it in our services, we say it in our philosophy. It's written in the edge of the etheric. It is written in all of the works of all of the great spiritualist philosophies. Silver Birch, you've got Arthur Conan Doyle's works, you've got Arthur Findlay's works, you've even got a very good book written by a certain lady called Reverend Nick Brown. We all talk about miracles. We need to start making them happen in our lifetime, and it's going to be tough and it's going to be hard, but the point is, if two members of completely different organizations as far as politics is concerned can be really open and honest and chatty with each other and friends, just like me and Tim. I do consider him a friend. Always have done, always will. That's why I always say yes, Tim. I've never forgotten that. Then I think there's hope. And where there is hope, there is possibility. And where there is possibility, there's a chance. And I think that we need to move forward rather than worrying about the ifs, ands, or buts, and just remember what it is that we all do that is similar across all religions, rather than focus on the differences.
Yeah.
Amen.
Lisa Scott.
Oh.
Have you ever been put in a position where you've questioned your faith in spirit, why they've put you in a situation just too much, to which made you question everything and whys and the wheres, the sense of it all?
It's really actually bull. You know what? I'm going to follow Tim's lead about being open and honest about personal experiences, and I think, Tony, you probably know where I'm going to go with this.
Yes.
January 20th, 2021 was probably the most diabolically hardest day of mine and my family's life I've ever experienced. And this is why we're here about service, because certainly when it comes to helping people, you can only draw on your own experiences. And that is such a difficult question that a year ago I wouldn't have been able to have answered. I'd have thought I'd have been able to answer it, but I wouldn't have answered it the way I'm going to today. Because up until that point, I never, ever questioned my faith. I never, ever questioned what it was that I was doing. And I never, ever questioned spirit. But the rows that I had with my guides, the pain and anguish and grief that I experienced, not just for myself, but for those that were around me experiencing it too. It was so, frankly, bloody awful. And until you've been through it, no, Lisa, this is what it's all about, mate. This is what it's all about. Because it's an important point. When Dad died, I was broken, and I was only holding myself together with little bits of wire and good intentions for the benefit of everyone else. And it wasn't working because I had lost my way a little bit. Well, I'd lost my way a little bit. It was a lot, in all honesty. I had spoken and gotten advice and support from Lynn, as ever. And I was starting to get worried towards the end there that we weren't going to get the result we thought we were. But I didn't want to believe it for myself because I had to keep going. And Lynn gave me a saying as her message from Spirit, and I will never forget it from this day to the next, to the day after that and the day after that. Thy will, not my will. We can pray and we can ask for whatever we want, but our prayers are only answered in a way that is going to be developmental for the future. Our prayers can only be answered so much in a way that we expect them to be answered. I could pray every single day for the rest of my life that I do not lose any other person that I love. But I know that that's a ridiculous prayer to ask, because we are immortal in the soul, not the physical. And it's going to happen. And someday I'm going to make the transition from the physical to the next life. And, you know, I don't want to go anywhere. We always joke about they don't want me there yet. Well, you know, I don't want to be there yet. And none of us should, because this is such a wonderful experience. And what brought me back to my senses and my faith is actually my life is difficult and hurts. And since January, it's been painful. But without the previous 42 years of that man's influence, I'm richer and fuller and prouder for it. I'm lucky to have had that man as my dad. Well, actually, no, luck, thank you. Luck doesn't come into it. We choose within reason where we're going. We get a choice. They say, there's that family there, that family there, that family there. Where do you want to go? I want to go to that man because he looks like he's got a wicked sense of humor. He's going to be a complete nut job, and he's going to be really what I want. I chose to go to that family. I chose my parents from Spirit, as we all do, because of what I needed to learn. And I need to learn to not judge people. I needed to learn to expect the unexpected. And I also needed to learn what faith is truly for. And the reason my dad gave me that is because he was a very traditional, old-fashioned kind of guy at his heart, even though he was a complete loony and laugh. I was afraid that when I was growing up, I was afraid that he would know that I was gay. I just really didn't think he would accept me. I was wrong. I misjudged him. I was really, really wrong. You know, he's adopted Nigel as another son. They all did. You know, he's part of the family. But I misjudged him because he was only annoyed by the way he found out, not by the fact that he found out at all. And less than 24 hours out of finding out, he said, "You're my son and I love you and I don't care. It's going to take some getting used to, but I'm sure I'll get there." And you know what he did? And 6 weeks later, I found Nigel, you know. And what brought me back to my faith, we all, whether we are Christians or not, at the very least respect Jesus as the greatest medium and healer that ever lived, with the most faith, the most courage, the most strength. That's a bare minimum that any spiritualist should have for the figure of Jesus. Obviously, as Christian spirits, a little bit more, but hey, everyone should at least have an acceptance that he was the best medium, best healer, and greatest teacher that ever walked the earth. And when he hung on the cross, he said, "Father, why have thou forsaken me?" But it wasn't even the first time, because in the Garden of Gethsemane, he asked that the cup might pass. I can't take this. I don't want this. Please let somebody else do it. Let me just run away and not have to go through this. He knew what was coming. He got through it. And he managed to have the confidence and courage and strength in the world of spirit and in his faith that he got through it, to the extent that he allowed himself to be arrested. He kept silent, knowing that he would die. As for me, I got through it because I had to accept the inevitable. I had to accept what was coming, but I also had to accept the fact that it was not a personal affront and attack from the spirit world to me. It was simply this: the way life happens. And if we all lived forever physically, we would forget how wonderful physical contact is. Life has to be brief in order for it to be so special. To know that love is eternal is to know physical compassion and contact as a brevity. I am blessed for the 42 years that I had with my father, because I know that my next, hopefully 42, maybe even more years, I will carry on his message. Just like, even though Jesus was afraid that he couldn't do it, for the following 40 days after his death, he carried on preaching the word of spirit and teaching his disciples as a physically manifested spirit on the earth plane.
Yeah.
You know, and faith is not about when things are going good. Faith is about when things are just crap. And that's the truth. I always say faith and reason are like the shoes on your feet. Faith sustains you when reason says you can't go on. And my faith, although was dented for a short time, was the actual reason I pulled my head out of my backside and out of the sand and got back in the game, because I know that if I didn't, my father would kick me right up the posterior with his 12 lace holes on a size 7. And it teaches us that it's not easy for anybody, and we shouldn't just brush off people's grief and difficulties as oh well, it will get better. It doesn't. You get better at managing it, and that's what we need to be teaching people. You get better at managing it by knowing that they have not completely disappeared. You know, how anyone can think that all of this is all there is. If I thought that for a second, I'd give up right now. I'm grateful that I've developed as a medium, because if I had any doubts about the afterlife, I would be so unhappy. You know, because look at the world in which we live and the way people treat each other. There's got to be something better and nobler and more than that. The point is, there is. And everyone who says the Lord's Prayer should be doing something about it, because they always say the words, "on earth as it is in heaven." When you are praying and saying "on earth as it is in heaven," you are making a commitment and a promise to make this world just like heaven, a place of light, of love, of hope, and of friendship. Not a grotty hole where everyone hates each other and bitches at each other over the slightest little difference. You know, perfect example this time of year. You know, it's not so long ago we had the 40 days of Lent. We're now in the 40 days of Eastertide, ending on May the 13th. You've got Ramadan, there's Sikh festival going on. We've had Passover from Judaism. Yes, they're all Abrahamic faiths, but not all of them. This time of year is about growth, about renewal, about start. Every single religion has picked up on that because every single religion has a spark within it of truth. If we ditch all of, as Tim said, yes, Tim, as we ditch all of the political bull and set it all aside and just look at the core of what every religion is, it's love each other, be nice to each other, and stop being so bloody silly.
You know, you said all this. My friends, they've given him 12 months to live, but they think it's spread more now. I've spoke to him today, and he said he's a medium, and he said that if it wasn't for this faith as a spiritualist and know what he's going back to, he says he don't know how he would have managed. He's done his funeral and everything how he wants it. His sister doesn't agree because she don't believe in all this, but he says it's his faith what's holding him on. And I took my hat off to him because he didn't break down or anything. He says, what's point? He says, to be honest, I'll be happier. And that's how he said it. I'll be happier, Gene. He says, I'm out of all this. He says, all this argument, all this everything. And I thought, well, that's what I would like. And I thought, good on you. Good on you.
In actual fact, in 11 days, I'll be performing a burial of ashes for a friend of mine. You know, if my faith was ever going to be, you know, knocked or dented, it would have been this last 6 months. We lost Reverend Wendy. We lost my mate Andy. He was in his early 30s, and he'd suffered for a year from cancer. But he was not religious, shall we say? And I was invited by him to perform his funeral on the condition that I didn't talk all of my God be at it. So all right then. So at the end of his service, I just went into autopilot and I turned and I said, God bless you. Oops. And I just looked round to everyone and said, don't worry, he'll get me back for that later. And everyone roared with laughter because that was Andy's sense of humor. It's exactly what he would have said to all of them, not just me, if I was the only one that hadn't heard him. But we can all find something that unites us, even in the hardest and darkest of places. Because the first thing you do in darkness is reach out to find a wall, to find a light, to find a switch. We all reach out in darkness. And all it takes is one candle for us to be able to see what's around us.
When I lost my parents, Nick, I lost them quite close together. There was 7 weeks and 1 day between the two of them passing. And I'd had a break from mediumship, and then I went back to it, and I was so upset because my children then was only little. I had my husband, but I didn't feel anybody understood. And I happened to have a circle that week that I lost my mum, and he put his arms around me. His name was Michael. He's in spirit now, and he put his arms around me, and I just said, why? I said, why, Dad? And then Mum. And he said the most lovely thing. He says, well, your dad's gone first to make a place for your mum to join him. And the night she died, she looked at one certain place in the corner of her bungalow, and she said, Jack's coming for me tonight. And that's all she kept saying. And it was dead on midnight. Ed had gone out with the dogs, and I was there, and I was holding her hand, and I knew, I felt that cord being caught enough. I knew she'd gone.
Yeah.
But really, she'd gone before. She was just waiting because she'd had coming up for 50 years with my dad. and she wanted to be with him. I knew that. And then after a funeral, I said I was lost because it all happened at once. And then one night I decided to go to a spiritualist church, and I sat in the back and I felt as though I'd come home.
Yeah.
It just surrounded me. It was the peace, it was the love, it was the words. And the medium came to me and she said, and she told me who was there, and it was Mum and Dad.
Yeah.
And so it was just amazing to feel that.
It's nice because I lost my mum when I was 12. You know, Tony,
Yeah.
I talked about it to you. But now I'm a lot older, obviously. Tony, I'm 25. I can say honestly now, knowing what I know, that's when I become a medium, when my mum passed at 12. And I think if it weren't for my mum passing, some people think I'm awful now, but I would have never stepped into a spiritualist church and become what I am.
Yeah.
And I do think my mum, even though it were another lady who said to me, Dad, come on. But if it weren't for my mum giving us that push, I don't think we would have been where we are. Because my dad were left with 5 of us, all young. And you go through that why me and all this. We all do.
Yeah.
Why it happened to me. And at 12, I didn't know what was what. But now I can honestly say, thank you, because she's fetched me into this ism. And I just think to her, she'll be so proud of what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Of course you will. So is your dad.
People. Yeah, and my dad's so proud. I lost my dad nearly 30 years ago now. And I lost my dad same. And I think, well, I followed in my dad's footsteps, and he'd be so proud out of us. Campbell's, there's only me what's become a medium. So my mum and me, between them, they've helped me. And I give them big thumbs up for that, because without them bringing me into the world in first place.
Yeah. And
helping me through. There's a message here from Tim. Can he ask Nick? Have you seen it?
Oh,
I haven't actually.
I found one earlier. Can I just put this one up first, and then we'll do Tim's?
Then there's one from Tim.
This is way before. Where is the line between turn
the other cheek and the law of the land? When a crime has been committed, find it hard to turn the other cheek.
Yeah. See, turning people quite often misunderstand / misinterpret some of the biblical descriptions. Turning the other cheek isn't about being a pushover, first and foremost. So as far as the law of the land is concerned, I would say it's very much between which land we're talking about. Certainly in this land, people should be punished for any crime that they commit, but that punishment should fit the crime. If we're going down the direction of, do I think that there should be such a thing as capital punishment? Absolutely not. There is only... Literally, there is only one being in this universe that is allowed to say what day your day is up. And we're not any of them. And at the end of the day, if you have to take a life in response to taking another life, then you are just as bad morally, because you're washing your hands of someone. We're spiritualists. We believe in eternal progress and opportunities to make better in our life. So if we're saying you've done something so diabolical you have to die now, that's certainly not a spiritualist tenet, because you've washed your hands of that person and said, there's nothing can be done for you. Don't want you around anymore. It's painful and it's going to be hard. But the point is this. People of a religious nature quite often split hairs regarding the commandments from Mosaic tradition. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder. Basically, it means thou shalt not take a life. And by putting someone to death is taking a life. End of. Capital punishment is not only fundamentally flawed, it's fundamentally wrong.
Take that thing out the oven.
Because we
turn it off.
We are making ourselves just as bad as the people we hate. The point is this. The turn the other cheek is quite important and does come for that, because it's the second part of another saying. that we all hear quite frequently. We're always telling, oh, you're Christian, you believe in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Yeah, it's actually in the Old Testament. But when Jesus said, turn the other cheek, he was referencing an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. He said, you have been told to an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, it's wrong. Turning the other cheek is not about being a pushover. It's not about being a wimp or a coward or being nice to people that do you harm. It is about not responding in the same manner with violence, because the violence begets violence. That keeps us going in a complete circle. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth leaves everybody blind and toothless. But it's saying stop the cycle. Turning the other cheek is stop the cycle of hatred. People should be people should never be inclined or encouraged to respond to violence with violence, because it keeps that cycle going. And in another 10,000 years, there'll be 4 or 5 people sitting on some kind of holographic laptop doing exactly the same thing and having the same conversation. We have to stop the cycle. Punishment should fit the crime. Yes, I believe. Hello. Somebody's agreeing. Yes, I believe that the punishment should be harsh for murder. Yes, I believe that they should spend a long time sitting in a room doing things that would be uncomfortable and difficult. I don't think they should have an easy life. It shouldn't be like a holiday. But I don't believe that we've got the right to take anybody's life, because at the end of the day, if we believe that some people have got the right to take a life, how can we in all honesty say they should be punished? Because that's exactly what we're doing. And as Lynn says, show the mercy to others we want for ourselves.
Yeah. Amen to that. Tim asked about Tim. I can't find his post to put it up, but he asked about.
It's about the churches and Zoom. Let me find it. I've just had it.
Oh, I did
post-COVID.
Top of that before I got post-COVID. What is the exact? I mean, I can start talking about what I think the future is.
Yeah, lockdown, and how do you think the modern technology, such as Zoom, will be able to support religion and spiritualism when the churches reopen?
Tim, bloody brilliant question, mate. There's 2 schools of thought on this, I know. I've already had contact from a church that's gone completely online. What I will say is, as grotty as it sounds, the best thing for spiritualism has been what's happened this past year, because we are now visible. We are now open. People can see what it is that we do without having to get up, go out and get those eggs thrown at them as they walk into the local Christian Spiritualist church. And no, I'm not joking. They were actually thrown into the village hall one week. What it has done is showed people that we're not entertainers, that it's showed people that we are normal people with normal problems. And it's shown that spiritualism can be a force for good if it is utilized correctly. So I think we would be foolish when all of this is over and we can go back into the churches to completely abandon it. However, the flip side of that is that I believe that we would be completely and utterly wrong to, go abandon churches, because we need that physical connection. Tim's comment, how fantastic would it be to have a medium physically in the church sharing the platform with somebody screen from Denmark, Switzerland, America and Australia?
Yeah, that would be good. That would be fantastic.
11 months ago, me and Tony were talking about exactly this.
We were.
Because what we were planning and what we still plan, and I hope Tim does something similar, and you'll be welcome on my platform, my friend, as well. And you can wear what you want. Anybody can. Although, Tony, if you wear that mini skirt again, there will be trouble, because we're on a platform.
All right.
There's got to be some naughty humour in there somewhere. We were talking about this. If we had a projector and this kit, in actual fact, the irony is about a month or so before we closed the hall, they actually got Wi-Fi, because it was costing me a fortune on data on my mobile, because we've been doing online bits, not the full service for about 4 or 5 years now, including COVID. But I think it would be amazing. And yes, sharing the platform, getting a couple of recipients in the hall and a recipient or two on the back screen as well. And we were talking about the mechanics and the machinations of that. I think it would be difficult for everybody. You'd need a technical. And here's Lynn with her modesty rails on the platform again. So you can wear your mini skirt, Tony, so long as we've got a modesty rail.
Thank you, Lynn.
His legs? He ain't got no good legs.
So, if you look on my Facebook page, you'll see exactly what my legs are like. I got very highly commented for my legs. See, the dog knows. But no, I think that we would be foolish to abandon everything we've achieved over COVID. But equally, I think we would be foolish to abandon everything we were. And I think you're absolutely... absolutely. Yeah. Nobody's ever seen me with my shirt off for a reason, Tim. Not even him indoors. But no, seriously, I think that you're right, Tim. It should be a balance. And what would it be to have, me kind of conducting a service in Littleport Village Hall with Lynn giving some philosophy from either, it's her choice, her living room, if she's having a bit of a tough day, or the front of the hall with me, to have you, Tony, up in Rotherham, and Matt Stapley, here we go, wait for the comments, from Canada, both serving the people of Littleport from that platform. Would that not be amazing? I think it would be wonderful, and I really do think it's
mind-blowing.
Only if Jean and I can join in as well, because Matt's going to be on. So
we've got to be here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've got to be there as well for Matt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we are.
Absolutely. but the point is, we can. And, it would, to be honest with you, it could potentially save churches a damn fortune in expenses, because, most mediums that I've been working with don't charge anything because they only charge for mileage, on the weekly services.
Yeah, I do when I'm doing a physical.
Yeah.
Calm down, girls. Well, can I just say that Lynn has put that it's turning into a knobbly knees contest?
It's always turns into a knobbly knees contest. The usual place.
Exactly, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. Completely.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean every medium has to be physically in the church. At the end of the day, 50% of the congregation isn't physically in the church because we talk to those that are discarnate. If we have a way of the physical people being exactly the same after a fashion, then why the heck not? I think there's so much potential. There is so much potential. And I think, like I said, we would be wrong to abandon what we were, but we cannot forget what we have become. And we need to then progress forward to make a perfect medley. There's the word again. A perfect medley of the two.
We have said that even when lockdown does open up, that we will still continue some feeds, some live feeds still.
Yeah, we have.
Even though we will do services within the churches and the centres, but we will continue these.
Can I just break off for a minute?
For example, hang on.
I'd just like to answer that, if I may.
Yeah, that's
the reason we started presenting half of our services at Littleport before COVID was because Wendy, our medium secretary, physically could not come to the church. And And it's a very valid point to note that there are so many people, and this is why I reference, if Lynn can't get down, she could do it from her living room. You know, there's so many people that would have been afraid to come to a church. There's so many people that physically can't come to a church.
Yep.
They make up a lot of our congregation now. Look, there was one week, I kid you not, it was the yogurt pot week, admittedly, where we had 1,200 people watching our services, that particular service, by 10 o'clock at night. There's no way we'd have got those people in the village hall over the course of 3 nights, let alone a few hours. And it's making it accessible for all. So I really do believe, and I know so many people do, we need to merge the two ideals. We do.
But I mean, when you look at it, Nick, how many businesses are saying now, because of COVID, they know they can halve their estate because they can have people working from home, working from different places, working differently. We can do the same thing.
Yes,
we can work differently.
And in my other life, as a retailer, you know, boss man, petrol station. Yes. If it hadn't have been for technology, nothing would have progressed over the last year. I've been in more contact with more people above my station, if you'll pardon the pun, than I had done previously, because they can now literally dial in and join a meeting. I've sat in and this is no kidding, believe it or not, I might work for a really big corporate company, but they're beautiful, really. I have sat in my office at Littleport talking about how I feel and my emotions in a meeting with someone from South Africa, someone from America, someone from Australia, and another person from England. And they were all at least 5 or 6 rungs higher than I am. And to be able to do that, it doesn't take much to be 5 or 6 rungs higher than I am, but I'm getting there. I'm on the 3rd one up from the floor. You know, but the truth is, it's made people reach each other better. It's made people reach each other more. And although I still believe that nothing can truly replace physical contact, if you haven't got physical contact, it's the best thing, you know, because if you can't have physical contact, then you've got to have something. And this has been, as many said, such a lifesaver for so many people, myself included. What would I have done on a Thursday night in Boudoir de la Brown in Chateau del Nick, other than invite the whole universe to come and see my bedroom?
1,200 people in Nick's bedroom by 10 o'clock at night.
Good lad.
And you were talking about making a few quid before the service, were you?
You want to do it, Nick? You want to say it?
Well, I told you, I'd give you a good run for your money. It's when you least expect it that
take it.
My dad taught me, you sit in the corner and you wait until your moment. And don't worry, Karen.
Go on, Irene, what did you want to ask?
Oh, wow.
No, it was just something that came up. Daniela O'Dwyer, there is a church in Hull. There's several churches in and around Hull. The one that we know and we go to quite regular is on St. John Street. So because Daniela was saying there isn't a Christian Spiritualist church where she lives, and she lives near Hull. And I know there's 2 or 3, but we go to John Street more than anything.
They return to physical services next Thursday because I'm going at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, you are.
I'm there. So yes, and they're not in. No, it's 2 o'clock.
Oh, I'm getting all confused here now.
You're not in Hull, but you're near Hull. Well, you've just heard what Tony said. He's doing the first physical service next Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock, John Street, Hull.
Yeah.
So you know.
Okay.
And just to slightly lower the tone
Next
even
button.
more, everybody's going to miss my bedroom.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
you know, you
Have they
won't
got you
have
to
to,
shed
because
in garden?
I will still be doing this at the very least. So you'll still get an update from Nick's bedroom. But isn't it typical of my luck and my life that it's all females that want to see my bedroom?
Yeah.
Bless you.
Sorry, Nick. Nick, can I just say I've enjoyed being in your bedroom for the last 18 months.
Well,
I've enjoyed seeing you when I've watched.
Yes, me too.
It's been good that you've all cleaned up after yourselves, though.
All I want to know is I know what Tony wears on bottom off. You know, when he's got
Too
his
much
shirt on, I know
information.
exactly what he would have got on bottom. But what have you got on your bottom half?
I'm quite happy to stand,
Come on then, let's have a look.
so long as faces
He's doing-
don't cut us off. No, actually, to be fair, I am in full attire because my work trousers do kind of like come in handy and match my suit jacket. But
Well,
I
you could
will
have
be
your
honest.
bottoms on. You could
I
put on
will
your shorts.
be honest. 50% of the time, I am wearing my joggers.
Me too.
That's
Me
Tony.
too.
That's Tony. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, that is nice to hear, though. They feel safe. Oh, bless them.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I feel safe letting you guys into my home, you know, because it really could potentially be in a difficult situation. But, you know, I've never had any concern. I've always had such kindness and support. And, you know, we talked earlier about how we get through things and about faith. Well, here's something. When I was at my lowest ebb, I had hundreds more people around me than I would have done normally.
Mm.
You know, and lovely people that, you know, I mean, and Matt Stapley, come on. I mean, the guy's 5 hours behind us, and we would sit talking for ages just about random stuff and about, because he obviously understands as well. And, you know, here I am sitting in Littleport talking to someone I've met from Canada by the internet, and had him on my church, and you've had him on your church, and he's come on and had a message, you know, and we meet so many great people that we haven't had the opportunity to before. I always say that a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet, and we've made so many friends over these last 12 months.
Yeah.
We've
Wonderful.
Yeah.
we have
See, here we go.
Hey.
Second mention of his name. This is why I didn't suggest that he was in my bedroom, because I knew what people would say. But you know, you know, I love this way of life. I love what it gives to people and what it can do for people, and I just wish. And we all know what wishes make. Wishes make prayers, but we also know that we must make heaven on earth ourselves. I just wish that everyone could not only see the truth of spirit, but people could start understanding that we are a recognized legal religion, because there is no official legal list of religions in the United Kingdom. We're blessed to be here. There is no legal list. You know, when I was ordained, well, your name's not registered with the council as a minister. Well, no, it's not. Well, why should it be? It's a matter of religion is a matter of conscience under the European and the United Nations human rights legislations, which is an adopted part of our country's laws and rules. We do not have to register with anybody unless we are doing something like visiting a prison, or going, certainly at the moment, like for instance in the war you had to be registered, but nobody needs to be registered with any legal entity. And yes, there is a list statistically of religions based off the census, but that's not even a legal list, because we've had Lynn has got a letter, I've read it about 15,000 times, from the Home Secretary stating religion is a matter of conscience. We do not legislate conscience. End of.
No.
And
Exactly.
so, you know, And if people read the right to religious freedoms in both the European and the United Nations human rights legislation, it's worded virtually identical because it's the same stuff. And basically it says everyone has a right to think and feel and pray the way they feel they should.
Yeah.
And groups of people have the right to appoint people to represent, to teach, and to, as Lynn's favorite word, educate on that subject. And I think if we all recognize that we all had the right to do that, no matter, as people have said tonight, no matter what we look like, no matter what we sound like, no matter what we dress like, just get on with it and focus on the things that matter the most. And that is, there is a creator that sparked off this whole thing and said, get on with it yourselves, loves. Probably not in that exact tone of voice. But you've got free will, make good on it. Well, we've got the free will, and now it's time that we started making good on it.
Shut up.
Here endeth the sermon.
Yes. Yes, Evelyn says. Evelyn Brown, no relation, I'm sure.
No relation.
No. Yes, education is the key. And Nick, Tim, you're so right, Nick.
Yes.
We are so lucky to have the freedom to pray in the church.
Pray, yeah. Yes, absolutely right. Because we're so lucky on so many scores in this country, and we forget that. And we shouldn't. We should never, ever forget that. You know, me as an individual, you know, in all seriousness, we're having a laugh and a joke, and I'm saying things that are slightly wayward. We all are, really. You should have heard it before the service. Told you. There it is again. But in all seriousness, as a Christian spiritualist minister who is a homosexual, there are so many countries in this world right now where if I were to turn around and have said that on a public platform, my door would be knocked in. I would be beaten whatsitless. I would be taken out and I would be hung. Yeah. But
I don't
in all seriousness,
I don't mind wiping you down after they've beaten you.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be wiped down. I'd be shot down. I would be stabbed down. I would be murdered. And this is the point. We're blessed and we're lucky. We need to share that blessing, not just as members of the UK, but as spiritualists. And you know, I think we need to. I think we really need to take that lesson.
We do. It's. You need Nick to say the H word again. Homosexual, I think he meant.
Why do I say it funny?
I don't know. He'll tell you in a minute, I've no doubt.
Well, yeah, and as Lynn says, or thrown off a tall building. Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. And you know, Tim makes a point about witchcraft. Actually, people need to remember that it was 1951 when the last person in this country was prosecuted for witchcraft. Helen Duncan, my lovely. You know, we've come a long way in 71 years, but not far enough.
Obviously, not far enough.
And the world, no, and the world definitely hasn't come far enough.
No.
But that's our job. That's our job. Unite as one and spread the light and the gospel of love and truth that we are eternal. Amen.
Yep. And on that note, I would like to thank Nick so much for sharing this evening with us.
It's been really nice, Nick.
It's been a pleasure. We must do this again with Tiffin.
Well, actually, Nick, I can go one better because I can physically come and see you if I wanted to, because my sister lives near you and my niece.
Where they live?
My sister lives in Wisbech.
Oh, right.
And my niece lives just outside of March.
God bless you, my child. You lucky. Wow. You know, I will warn you. It's still a long road. It's still a long road. But there is a shortcut
from here to there, door to door. But I could physically come and physically be in your bedroom.
Absolutely. There you go.
It put Rose closed if I were going.
I will say this much, Irene. There is a shortcut from that direction to get to us, but avoid it in the winter because it's a floodplain.
Oh yes, yes.
And the whole of the North Sea just cuts a huge swathe out of the earth.
Well, before she lived in Wisbech, my sister was right out on the fens at Marshall St. James. Right out on the fence.
Oh, yes.
So down those wonky roads with the ditches either side. And
yes.
Yes, you know where I'm going. So
yeah, I do.
We
I
used
do.
to avoid the ditches, so, but she lost her husband and she moved into Wisbech. So, you know.
Yes. Wisbech is a nice place.
Lots of love for you,
Wisbech is
Nick.
a nice place.
That's
Yes,
lovely.
thank you
Lots of
everybody
love.
for all of your support and your kind words. Actually, it's been a pleasure to open up my heart and share a little bit, but also to share that which with those in the world of spirit that I work, because they do think that I don't do it nearly enough. And yes, there is a train station in Littleport that's it's doubled up now, and Lynn
I know there is.
Put Lynn's one on. Put Lynn's one on.
I'm trying to find it. There it is.
There it was.
There
we
it
have
is.
dikes aplenty.
Oh yes, I know there's plenty of dikes. I mean, I've fallen down a few walking the dogs.
I don't think
Especially
Lynn
on the
means that
winter
type
day.
of dike.
I don't think she means that type, Irene. You're on wrong link, love. You're on wrong link.
It's all right. No pressure me, is it? I was trying to bring a bit of decorum.
That works.
Our lead minister doesn't do decorum.
Oh.
I thought
It's all right.
I could take it other way.
Yeah.
That
Do you
was brilliant.
look?
Bless her.
I know.
Oh,
Often.
Karen, bless
I
you.
don't get out much. I don't get out much.
Sheltered existence. Sheltered
Well, it is
existence.
at the moment until we can start doing physical services again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
All,
anyway,
all,
made
I'll, all I'll
everybody laugh.
say is it's still not as bad as the time that I stood in a hotel lobby in Atlanta, Georgia, in America. Point of there, America. Having flown something like 11 or 8 hours from here over there, and I stood in the lobby of that hotel to one of the concierges or something, and declared quite loudly, "Oi, mate, is there anywhere in this hotel I can get a fag quick?"
Okay.
Oh, well,
He offered me the bar next door, but I never did take it up on the offer.
Lovely. Well, again, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful evening. Lots of love and laughter.
Thank you.
Yes.
Really enjoyed it.
Sunday night, I am actually serving the church I thought I was serving tonight. So we will go our divine service
divine service on Monday.
On Monday.
No, are we on Sunday anyway?
No.
Right, that's all right.
No.
So Monday we will do our divine service, and then
I'll check, Jean. I'll check.
Wednesday there will be the service from our Bridlington church. Thursday we have some rogue doing his service.
We're
and if you look
Wednesday.
on
Me and Irene. Me and Irene's out on. Well, we're not out, but we're on
Wednesday, 24th.
So you've got these rogues in Brid on
me and Irene's
Wednesday.
at Brid on. Is it Uwe? Green. Pastures Green in it.
It's not Pastures Green.
It's the Bridlington Spiritualist and Spiritist Fellowship.
Oh, is that where you know who?
That's
Sarah
Sarah and Adrian.
But the one that you're talking about is the charity night that we're doing at the
24th.
Saturday.
Oh yes, next Saturday, 24th.
We're out on. Well, we're on telly on Wednesday. iPad.
Yes, yeah.
And
21st.
then we're on doing charity on Saturday.
Yeah, they're both charity
Saturday.
dues. One is the one on Saturday is Sean Maltus contacted us to do it for him.
Yes,
through Sarah Stirrup. It's the St Gemma's Hospice that we're doing that one for, Jean.
Yes.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And then I can't remember what I'm doing.
Then. Oh God, it's confusing this.
Lynn thought it was strange that I was here. So anyway,
right.
Thursday afternoon.
I'll let you know.
Thursday afternoon, we're doing our afternoon service, 1 p.m. And then Rogue is on
with
night,
Martin
7:40
as medium. Yeah, 7:40. Martin Quigley as medium.
Martin's
or as
good.
Reverend Wendy used to refer to him, you've got Mr. Muscles on this week. That's how Wendy referred to him. I don't know whether he knew that, but
he does now.
I'm bringing this up. I really am bringing this up.
Yeah,
yes, Tim.
I agree, Tim. You know, they know what we're doing, even if we don't.
So can I just check this then, Tony? You're in Hull in the afternoon on the Thursday and not the evening.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're not doing our Thursday afternoon service.
No, what I was saying is that, so if I'm getting over, I need to be over for Thursday afternoon.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Right, that's all. Thank you.
Yes.
And when people say, how does Spirit do that? When it comes to thank God Spirit know what they're doing, sometimes I really don't know.
No, I don't know either.
They've got their work out for us.
They have. We couldn't organise the proverbial. Like I said, I thought I was serving that church tonight. Oh dear. Yeah.
You just had a senior moment, Tony. You just had a senior moment, even at 22.
At 26. Yes.
26.
Well, let me just.
Anyway,
I will say this much, just as a final thought. You know, I did say right at the very, very beginning that Spirit do provide and that
Absolutely.
they really do have their work cut out for us. But it really does prove, and this is the key thing that I mentioned, it shows people that we're human, and it shows people that we're real human beings, and that you couldn't make this up.
You really couldn't. And to round it all off, Nick, could you do your wonderful closing prayer?
I will. Thank you. Oh, bless you. Well, friends, let's join together in a moment of contemplation and love as we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends, to unite under your banner of love and hope and friendship. I ask for a blessing to be placed on each person here present, not just now, but those who will be watching in the future. And as ever, that we will do everything in love and truth and light. And finally, Great Spirit, we ask that you do not move the mountain, just give us the strength to climb. Until we meet again in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Love that. Wonderful. Thank you.
It's been very popular, hasn't it?
Yes.
It has, because it's so true. We can't ask that the Lord be taken off us, just give the strength to carry it.
Yeah.
That's all we ask.
And I really enjoyed being with you tonight, Nick.
I've enjoyed being with you three. It's been lovely having you in my bedroom. And as it all began right at the very, very beginning, it's been a pleasure being on top of you, Jean.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're out now, Tony. You're out.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And
just
with
one
that,
thing, Nick. Next time, Nick, could you be on top of me, please? Because I'm getting jealous now.
Is it that you're getting jealous or just bored of it being Tony? There you go.
There you go. We have the power.
Oh, even the dogs are happy with that one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Good night and God bless everybody.
Night, everyone.
Good night. God bless.
Night.
Take care.